Hi, I'm Mike Graber, and I'm going to be talking about women's suffrage. During the Progressive Era, women demanded to be seen as full and equal citizens of the United States. And one of the major aspects that women pushed for during this time was the right to vote. It's kind of odd that women had such a major role in society at this time, and during the 19th and 20th centuries. They were even some women who held political positions, but they still weren't technically allowed to vote until the ratification of the 19th Amendment in 1920. Some states allowed women to vote before this, however. Women were seen as protectors of the home, and they played a major role in the consumer life because they did the majority of like grocery shopping and just providing food for the family. And also, women started to work outside the home by getting office jobs and becoming telephone operators. Activists used this idea to show how important women were, and they argued that they should be able to voice their opinions publicly through voting. Some working women independently organized with middle class women to improve their job equality, but suffrage movements got the most attention through larger organizations. Starting in 1848, women petitioned to get an amendment passed for women to vote all across America, but it took about 70 years to actually accomplish this task. Women wanted to pass reform legislation, but they realized that they needed to vote to actually get this done. Uh, I believe that the large improvements in social status for women played a huge role when it comes to them receiving rights such as voting. During the Progressive Era, women went from being poor, stay-at-home moms or widows, or sometimes it was because they were colored, to being a major part of the workforce. Women started to rise in ranks, with some becoming lawyers, doctors, journalists, and scientists. And they were starting to go to college and get degrees. The phrase new woman represented young, smart, talented women. These women started to work towards things like the reform and suffrage movement. This is where the tides began to change because women were becoming much more educated and powerful, especially as they gained in numbers in the beginning of the 20th century. The National American Suffrage Association, led by Carrie Chapman Catt, campaigned to become a franchise for women in the states. And they tried to get an amendment passed so women all over America weren't denied the right to vote. The National Woman's Party, led by Alice Paul, used to use a more intense strategy to get suffrage by protesting at the White House in hopes to get President Woodrow Wilson's attention. They were way more radical than the Suffrage Association, and that's why they're popular. A lot of them went to jail and stuff. Alice Paul, now I'm going to talk about Alice Paul a little bit more because I thought it was cool how she was so devoted. Um, Alice Paul was a college-educated woman who started her involvement in the suffrage movement in Britain and was even arrested several times. While in jail, Alice went on a hunger strike and had to be force-fed. She was very motivated to get equality for women. In 1910, she moved back to the States where she joined the American suffrage movement and got her PhD at the University of Pennsylvania. Um, Alice was originally a part of the National American Suffrage Association, but she was a little feisty and she didn't like their policies and how they went about stuff. And so she's dissatisfied by that. So she formed the National Woman's Party uh, with Lucy Burns, I believe, so that she could take the movement into her own hands with, like I said, protesting at the White House and stuff like that. She paid the price for her radical actions, though, by being arrested and doing jail time for protesting in front of the White House. Uh, After women were gained the right to vote in 1920, Alice Paul still fought for several other movements for women, including like equality for pay and job opportunities and other stuff. And then she did this until she died in 1977 in the same town that she was born in. Morristown, New Jersey. Women, along with minorities, have faced inequality in many forms throughout American history, but with the help of devoted activists, they eventually achieved their goals and are still working towards becoming equal. But nowadays, it's pretty much equal pay and everything. There's very, very successful minorities everywhere. But yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.